Thank you for introducing me, so I won't waste so much time. Apologies for technical error earlier. This is my background. I have a master's in counseling. I'm currently also doing my PhD right now, so hopefully I can get my PhD soon. So let's start. Let me introduce first, what is stress? All of us here all have stress, and maybe sometimes we all have stress on a daily basis. So stress occurs when we have some form of pressure and we are able to cope. So just want to share a little bit from the psychology part in how we build ourselves, how we look at challenges or stress. It depends on our age, our gender, our experience through all the challenges we have in life, culture, religion, and also personality. So in psychology, we look into all these things, and this is what makes you who you are. That's why every one of us here are very unique, and especially how we deal with stress or changes that happens to us. So first of all, what is resilience? So a lot of times when we talk about resilience is basically bouncing back. So very important, I'm going to focus today is on resilience at work. So what is resilience? So first of all, we need to ask ourselves, what is the importance of resilience? How could you improve your ability to manage and survive in any given situation? As we all know, when we work, we have, opportunities for growth. We have things that we can learn. And we're sometimes at workplace, we also have challenges. So what are the challenges that you are facing? So what is psychological resilience? Because a lot of times when we're very stressed, how do we pull ourselves together? And do we always need to be strong? So I'm sure many of you here, and also professors and doctors here in this room today, you all have to ask yourself what helped you to cope in the past. Because when we first started working, or when we go to a new university or school to teach, what helped you to cope? What can you learn from others when they deal with life challenges? Because we cannot deny that life will always give us challenges. But what can you learn from others, like your seniors or the lecturer sitting next to you? What can you learn from them on how they deal with life challenges? And most importantly, do you know yourself enough to know what is your individual characteristics on how you deal things? For some of us, when we are stressed, we like to cook. For some of us, when we are stressed, we like to talk to somebody. All right. So are you a quiet person, or do you like to speak to people when you're going through challenges in life or at work? So this is a very short activity that all of us here can do. If you have a piece of paper, or just write it down your scores. And let's look at this. Evaluating your own resilience. All right. So I have plenty of support from other people in life. Okay. So rate it more than 0. Ask yourself why. If you have plenty, you have a lot, give yourself full mark if you have a lot of them. If you feel that it's half, then maybe give yourself a 6, but don't give yourself 0. So the first question is, I have plenty of support from other people in life. Question 2, I'm able to accept myself for who I really am, because all of us are not perfect. Myself, I'm not perfect, but do you accept yourself for who you are? The third one, I am confident in my ability to cope with adversity. If you're very confident, give yourself a high score. I am good at communicating and interacting with others in times of stress. Okay, the next one is, I am good at facing challenging problems in life and solving them systematically. So usually people are very organized and disciplined. You can, solve them very systematically. Or lastly, I cope well with my emotions in the face of adversity. All right, so I want every one of you here to give a score. For each item, please give more than 0. Then ask yourself whether do you have high resilience. If your scores are high, That means you have really high resilience. But sometimes if you ask yourself these questions again, sometimes you will score yourself a bit lower, especially when you have a lot of challenges in life. All right, so assessing your own resilience. There are a few things that does affect our resilience, including our workplace. Number one is sometimes overcoming childhood. Our childhood is very different from one individual to another individual. Daily challenges does affect us. Sometimes we are trying to recover from major setbacks. There are a lot of challenges with, going on in our environment and that stuff with the pandemic. How do we recover from major setbacks? How do we reach out for greater meaning and purpose? So a lot of times we need to have some form of protective measures such as social support. You really need support. We all do need support. And you need to identify who is within your social support. And lastly is your character. How you see challenges and how you assess challenges and how you try to cope and overcome says a lot about your personality. So what is resilience? So resilience, when we talk about resilience, right, we always think about being strong. And resilience has to do with the mental and the physical. So if let's say you are having a mental breakdown because challenges were so hard at work, it's going to affect your physical health. Vice versa, physical health too. If you are working in an environment where there's a lot of cluttering, there's a lot of maybe not good ventilation. So if that affects your physical health, it also affects your mental health. So being organized, maybe neat table or things like that, that physical health does impact your mental health and also builds your resilience. So there's a lot of things that affect us, and this is what I came up with when I worked with a lot of people and doing workshop for resilience at workplace. Some of this can be challenging, having challenges right now. Some of you may not have it, maybe superiors, your colleagues, maybe demands from the students or demand from workplace. Another challenging part is work politics. So the rest of it is least likely about workplace, but it can be the community. It could be your health. It could be your history, your network. Maybe for some of us, we have debts or loans. For some of us, maybe we have commitments. Like for myself, I'm doing my PhD now, so I am doing my education, I'm doing my studies. It can be friends, it can be environment like COVID-19 now. It also can be family. So what I'm trying to get at is to bring you to look around you that all this does affect us and our resilience. So of course, if you want to identify how do we build resilience at workplace, you have to look at what's the pool or what supports you at workplace, superiors, colleagues, maybe demand of work, okay? So what are the challenges within the industry, the academician world or academic? If your resilience is not high or if your resilience is low, you're going to be easily burned out. And some of the signs you can see among your colleagues, if let's say resilience is low, they're going to have high absenteeism, poor performance. And pandemic is not something you can control. So sometimes the pandemic can be a challenge. High turnover of staff for those of you in management level. It can give you low morale and even illness. So the financial and health impact work-related stress. So a lot of us here have high demand jobs, high job demands. But if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to have a poor mental health, poor health functioning, because like I said, when you're very stressed and you do not know how can we handle the stress, it's going to affect your physical health. And what if you're doing high effort at work but low reward? Chances of people becoming alcohol dependent because you put in high effort, low reward. There's a high risk of alcohol dependence, poor mental health, poor health functioning, maybe sickness, absenteeism. And if let's say you're experiencing low social support at work, there is high likely of increased poor mental health or poor health. So it can be mental health, it could be your physical health. As I mentioned earlier, the mental and physical both are together. They're supposed to work together. So how do you cope with stress at work? And all of us have our own style. And I'm going to go through this list one by one. And we're going to discuss, we can have questions and we can discuss further. Number one is at work, we can seek support and advice from our supervisor or superiors. We can, if you've, that is one option. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Not all this will work for you. There are good ways and not so good ways, and we're going to talk about it. This data was collected to show how people actually cope at workplace. Some of us will try to deal with the situation objectively in an unemotional way. So when challenges happens, sometimes we get very emotionally upset or angry. Why is doing this? You feel tired. But if you're very emotional, it's very hard for us to deal with the situation objectively. So very important, let's try to deal with the situation objectively and less putting emotions there. Keep yourself grounded. Also understand and recognize your own limitations, because at workplace, people do expect us to do a lot of things. And sometimes we are limited. So understand where are your limitations are. When challenges happen, talk to understanding colleagues. You might not, you'll be very surprised. Sometimes they are very understanding and they can just give you some suggestions. Another good suggestion is to set priorities and deal with the problems accordingly. What is your top priority? Accept the situation and learn to live with it. This is a bit harsh, but sometimes, a lot of times, we cannot control the environment. We cannot control the change of leadership within workplace. We cannot control the pandemic. So a lot of times we need to accept the situation and learn how to adapt with those changes. Highly recommend this. Seek as much social support as possible. Give encouragement, share things. Even though sometimes we do not know how to be good social support, sometimes being there for them is good enough. So what do we do for some of us? Because we have so many things going on in our life, we just keep staying busy. We stay up late nights doing research, keeping ourselves very, very busy. This might not be healthy, especially if you're working late and overtime. So once a while, maybe yes, if you want to work overtime. But remember that always, if you have a family, they are waiting for you at home, they want to spend time with you. So staying busy may not be the best way, but this is also a way people cope. Not the healthiest way. Another thing that we also do quite a lot is bottle the things up. So the more you keep all this negative energy or challenges or stresses that come from work, you're going to explode one day. So bottle things up might work for time, like a short period of time, but you need to find ways to let it out. Because the more you keep inside, the more you're going to have a mental breakdown. So try to reduce the idea of bottling things up. Some of us use distraction. Like maybe when we're very stressed, we go watch a movie or we start cooking or something, do things, other stuff. So using distraction to take your mind off things, off the problem. It's a temporary solution, but it's not the best solution. For some of us, for those of you who smoke, I don't smoke, but for those of you who smoke, when you're very stressed, you tend to smoke more. And you could see, these are some of the signs that I'm just guiding and sharing with everybody so you all can see. Sometimes when there's so many things going on, we delegate the problem. Okay, now we have an issue, delegate. And then let other people solve that issue for you. Always remember at workplace, we try to work as a team, and working together harmoniously is more, it's a better outcome. For some of us, when you're very stressed, for some of you, you will start drinking more alcohol rather than drinking more than usual. Not good for your health. Like I said, if your health is unwell due to drinking, that's going to affect your mental health also. Some of us like to do this is to avoid the situation, try to avoid not talking about the problem and avoiding it. You can avoid for a while, but you still have to face the distress or the challenges that comes to you. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about, do you love your job or workplace? Studies has found that a lot of people work because they have to work, not because they love their job. They work because they want to feed the family. So it is very important that if you're passionate about your job, if you love your job, trust me, you also have to take care of yourself at workplace. So another thing that I like to talk to people is identifying what is within your control. If challenges happens at workplace, what is within your control? Most of the time, what is within our control is us. We can only control, but we cannot control what people think about us or feel about us or But so what is within your control? Very important for all of us to self-care is setting boundaries between work and personal life. Yes, we have to work hard. We need to show our bosses that, we can do this, but also set boundaries where you also have your personal life. Spend time with your family. I'm a mother myself, and trust me, babies grow very fast and you're going to miss out their childhood, everything. So set boundaries, balance work and personal life. Okay, so when challenges happen, when do we bounce back? A lot of times when challenges happen, right, the biggest advice that you hear from a lot of people is that move on. You got this. Okay, you got to be strong. You got to bounce back now. Whatever challenges that's trying to pull you down. But also understand when sometimes challenges hit us, you need to spend time to take care of yourself, as in allow yourself to be angry, allow yourself to cry, because sometimes we're just really, really overwhelmed. So when do we bounce back? As a professional, I would say don't force yourself to bounce back just because people want you to bounce back. Bounce back when you're ready. Because think of it this way, if challenges hit you and you fall, all right? And when you fall, let's say you hurt your knee, you scrape your knee and it's bleeding. There's no point of you standing back up and running while your knee is bleeding. So you need to take care of yourself. If you're going to be hurt, allow yourself to feel hurt because you are human. So bounce back when you are fully ready to bounce back. Because when you're going to challenge or solve issues without understanding your feelings, then you're just going to continue running with the bleeding kneecap. So yeah, do take care of yourself. And a lot of times people ask us that we always have to be strong. So what is the true meaning of being strong? If you are weak, does that mean you have low resilience? No. Sometimes we need time out. Sometimes when a lot of things happening in our life, you need to step back and process what is going on. What can I do? There's so much changes, especially now with academician world, teaching students online. It's also challenging for students, but it's also challenging for us to teach. How do we teach them and guide them? All right. So what is the true meaning of being strong? If challenges keep coming, must you always be strong 24/7? So here are some key skills by Penn Resiliency Program. And here are some tips, see what works for you. Very important, monitor your thoughts. It's easy for us to find faults in others and within ourselves. And Don't punish yourself so hard. Take care of yourself. Monitor your thoughts. If you're going to have a lot of negative thought process, it's not going to be healthy for you. So because all these are called the thinking errors. So you're good at what you do, therefore you're in this job. So how do you grow? Continuously or have to grow? Sorry. Okay. Identifying what are unhelpful beliefs that you have. What are the challenging, unhelpful beliefs that's pulling you down? All right. Sometimes when things happen, right, we have challenging, catastrophic worries that just, come. So you challenge it. Sometimes we over worried. So challenge those thought process. Rapid calming and focus on strategy. So sometimes it's not easy when things happen, right? We easily get panicked. So rapid calming, just try to say, okay, look, I'm going to step back, keep myself grounded. What is really going on? What is the solution? How can we work towards the solution? Lastly, where I mentioned earlier about when to bounce back, what is the real-time resilience? Don't get up when everyone asks you to do. You get up when you're ready to fight and bounce back and show that you're good at what you do. So do what works for you. Everyone here, again, I mentioned earlier in my earlier slides, they're all very different from age, experience, culture, religion, so many things that set us different from individuals. So do what works for you to be resilient at your workplace. So what happens next? So be very mindful. This is from the psychology point of view. Be very mindful when things happen, whether it's change of leadership at workplace or politics or people gossiping. Be very mindful of how you feel when all these are happening. How you feel will affect how you think, will also affect how you act. So we cannot deny that these three things does play a huge role on our behavior, or how we feel, how we think, and how we're going to act about it. The most important thing is that could we be compassionate? I know a lot of you would say, yes, we can be compassionate. My question here is, could we be compassionate, be kind to ourselves? Because there will be more and more challenges that come in, whether it's in our personal life or at workplace. Can we take care of ourselves? Can we be kind to ourselves? A quote from Maya Angelou that I would like to share with everybody today. You may not control all the events that happen to you, whether it's workplace or personal life, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. So how could you build or have a better resilience at workplace? It's all up to you, what works for you. Another suggestion is sometimes is the way we look at things. Reframe your mind. So whether if you see a glass, you take a glass and you pour half, like let's say a glass and you pour some water. Is the glass half empty or half full? How do we look at things? Can we look at the situation or the problem from a different angle? I'd like to keep some time for Q&A if there's any questions.